So in this video, we're going to be going over basic method declarations and definitions. So just type this out. So after you type this, you have now created a method called hello world, and anything within these two brackets is inside your method. So let's just put something inside of here to just kind of show how these work. At this point, if we run the program, nothing happens because remember, the entry point of the program is within the main method and we have nothing inside the main method. So what we have to do is we have to use this method. It's called calling the method. So to call the method, you write the name of the method. In this case, our name is hello world, and then you put the parentheses, semicolon. And now when we run the program, we can see that it runs the code inside the hello world method. So there's other stuff that we can do within here, like we can make variables inside of a method. This is just another way of declaring variables. Declaring variables means you create the name, but you don't say what it's equal to. So we create two variables called x and y, and then we set what they're equal to here. One thing to note about methods is that you can call them more than once. So if we copy and paste this line of code and we run, it'll print hello world 4 times, right? And now we're actually going to be using these parentheses for the first time so you can see what they do. So first we're going to make two variables inside these parentheses called int width and int height. And then inside of this method, we're just going to print width times height, right? So at this point, if we run the program, nothing happens because we never actually call the method. So let's call the method. And then we have to tell the method what width and height are equal to. So we type in those two values here. And now if we run the program, you can see it prints 56 to the screen. Because remember, we tell the method what the width and height are equal to when we call the method. So the cool thing now is that we can actually call this method twice and pass in different values. It'll calculate the new area. One thing to note is that we can make a variable called width set equal to 5 and height set that also equal to 8. If we call the function now and we pass in our width and height, you can see that the values of these two variables here will be passed into the function and it will print the number 40. Another thing that you can do with functions is that you can return a value, right? So instead of returning void, which means return nothing, so the return type goes before the name. So instead of returning nothing, we're going to return an int, right? And as you can see, Eclipse will now say there's an error because we have to actually return a value. So we're going to type return width times height. And now we can create a variable called cube area and set it equal to our function. And then pass in 5 and 5. And then here we will print the value of cube area. So if we run this, you can see that it prints 25 because since we return a number from the function, we can set a variable equal to the function. So ints aren't the only things that you can return from functions. You can also return any data type essentially. So you can return a string. We can actually print this to the screen. And remember, we can actually just put the name of the function here. Since it returns a string, let's delete these parameters. So since the function returns a string, we can call the function like this and print it to the screen. It prints hello world. So another thing I want to teach today is scope. So scope is talking about what functions have access to what variables and methods. So for instance, if I have a variable called height set equal to 5, I cannot use that variable inside of the area cube method. And let's return void because we're not going to return anything from this function. I can't do this because area cube does not know that this variable exists. Now, if I declare this variable up here, then I can do this. Yeah, so I need to have the static keyword here. And as you can see now, area cube can actually see this height variable. The main method can also see this height variable. So the scope of this variable is contained throughout the entire class now. So anyway, that's it for this one, and make sure you like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.